When bullies targeted the new girl, they uncovered an incredible strength that changed everything. Jessica stepped off the bus, her heart thrumming with a cocktail of excitement and dread. It felt like walking onto a stage, but all the lights were dim, highlighting only her awkwardness. She clutched her notebook tightly, a flimsy barrier against the judgmental glares that she felt even before entering the buzzing high school. The crisp autumn air filled with the scent of pizza wafted through the hallowed halls. Laughter echoed around her, but Jessica felt isolated, the shy girl in the shadows yearning for acceptance. Her mother had always told her, "Jessica, people will judge you, but it's how you respond that matters." With these words ringing in her ears, she steeled herself to face the onslaught of teenage life in this tight-knit Midwestern town. But laughter soon turned to mocking when Jessica walked into the cafeteria wearing her faded hand-me-downs. A group of girls snickered and whispered, drawing attention as if her plain outfit was the punchline to a cruel joke. "Where do you get that?" "The clearance rack." One of them sneered, her smile sharp as a knife. It hurt. Each word felt like a jab at her dignity. Jessica forced herself to smile back, but the hurt pooled in her chest. She glanced around, looking for a friendly face, but all she saw were smirks and raised eyebrows. She felt the walls of the cafeteria closing in, suffocating her vibrant spirit beneath layers of insecurity. Just when despair threatened to swallow her whole, she found an unexpected ally: Sam. He was quiet, often hidden behind a sketchbook, doodling fantastic worlds and vibrant characters. He caught her eye, his warm smile cutting through the noise. "Hey, don't listen to them. They don't know you." His words dripped with sincerity. In his presence, Jessica felt a flicker of hope igniting amidst the embers of her loneliness. As the fall festival approached, excitement brewed in the town like the spices of pumpkin pie. Jessica wanted to feel part of that togetherness, but dread settled in her stomach. Then her bullies started spreading rumors, their laughter echoing like taunts. On the day of the festival, while families gathered and children frolicked, the bullies laid waiting for what they thought would be easy prey. The air was thick with tension, and as the bullies marched toward her, Jessica's heart pounded. She felt small, but in a flash, something shifted. She stood tall, surprising herself and Sam. "Leave me alone!" Jessica shouted, her voice cracking the facade of her meekness. Gasps rippled through the crowd, eyes widened, and even the bullies paused. In that moment, she glimpsed her hidden strength. But the victory was short-lived. As soon as her courage pierced the air, her so-called friends faded into the background, leaving her exposed. Jessica's breath caught in her throat. The weight of betrayal wrapped around her like a cloak. For a brief moment, she felt invincible; now, she felt raw and scorned. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The aftermath was immediate, whispers spread like wildfire. Jessica suddenly became a topic of conversation. Standing up to bullies was a rare act in this town, and people began to take notice. Conversations erupted about empathy and community values. While Jessica felt the sting of isolation deepen, there was something new in the air, a glimmer of change. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind, reminding her of their family values. It ignited a flicker of hope in Jessica's heart. In the coming days, she noticed eyes turning towards her, murmurs of admiration replacing the scornful sneers. Yet, as the festival approached, a question loomed larger: could she muster the strength to reclaim her narrative? The community buzzed with heightened emotions, leaving Jessica on the brink of making a decision that could ripple through the town forever. Would she find the courage to let her voice be heard, or retreat into silence once more? Jessica could feel the shift in the air. It was subtle, like the first hint of spring after a long winter, but it was undeniable. As the days passed, whispers of bravery spread through the hallways, echoing her name, Jessica. She caught snippets of conversations in her classes, kids talking, not mocking, but rather expressing admiration for the girl who stood up to the bullies. Still, uncertainty clung to her like a cloud. Would she be able to live up to the newfound recognition? When Friday came, the buzz around the festival was electric. Colorful banners decorated the schoolyard, and laughter flowed like the sweet cider being served at the stands. But for Jessica, excitement tangled with trepidation. What if those cruel girls tried to ruin her moment again? What if she faltered, regressing back into that timid girl who once hid in the corners? Sam found her sitting alone under an oak tree, sketchbook resting on her lap, her mind caught between the thrill of camaraderie and the fear of judgment. "Penny, for your thoughts?" he asked softly, settling beside her. She smiled weakly. "What if I'm not brave enough again? What if I end up looking like a fool?" He sighed, glancing at the colorful chaos around them. "You already showed strength when it counted. That moment will always be a part of you now, Jessica. Just be yourself, you don't have to prove anything to anyone." His belief in her shimmered through the haze of her doubt, igniting sparks of warmth inside her. Maybe standing tall wasn't just about shouting at bullies, maybe it was about being authentically her, no matter what others thought. As they chatted, she found the courage to voice her worries. "What if I'm just a target again? What if they come back?" Sam looked into her eyes. "You're not alone. You've got me and plenty of others now. We can face them together if we have to, but you have to remember that their opinions don't define you." His words dug deep, setting off echoes of what was building inside her all week, the realization she wasn't alone. The faces she thought were indifferent were now filled with intrigue and support. Feeling a swell of determination rising in her chest, Jessica stood up, brushing off her jeans. "Maybe I'll just have fun. I owe myself that, right?" "Exactly. Let us go make some memories," Sam grinned, and they joined the lively crowd. The festival buzz wrapped around her like a warm blanket, and she allowed herself to smile, embracing the joy that pulsed in the air. Yet, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the light playfully danced across the festival. Jessica's heart leaped when she saw the girls who had taunted her earlier. They were watching. The butterflies in her stomach shifted into a knot of anxiety. Would they try to ruin this night? Then she thought back to her moment of courage, the strength she felt when she confronted them. She straightened her shoulders, the echoes of Sam's confidence ringing in her ears. In the next moment, she took a deep breath, ready to embrace whatever might come. But before she could take another step, she overheard the girls making plans, their whispers slithering through the laughter of the festival. "Let us get her tonight." She won't know what hit her. The air around Jessica chilled, the warmth of the festival flickering like a candle in a draft. Jessica could feel the ground shift beneath her feet. Was she ready to face not just their mockery but whatever plans they had in store? The butterflies transformed into a storm within her as she thought of the choice she faced: retreat and hide or stand firm once more. The night held secrets that were waiting to unravel, and Jessica had a decision to make. Would she find the power to confront them again, or would this festival become a battleground? The uncertain path ahead beckoned, filled with possibility and dread. Jessica took a breath and prepared for what lay ahead, realizing the true test of her strength might just be moments away. Jessica's heart hammered in her chest as she processed the harsh whisper of those girls. "Let us get her tonight." The chill crept up her spine, wrapping her thoughts in ice. It felt like the festival's colors faded around her, the laughter and cheer blurred into a muffled hum as fear drowned her every impulse. "Jessica?" Sam's concerned voice broke through the fog. "What's wrong?" She turned to face him, feeling the heat rise in her cheeks. "They're planning something. I overheard them." Panic laced her voice. The weight of what she had to face felt like an anchor pulling her down. He frowned, scanning the crowd before looking back at her, determination replacing the concern in his eyes. Then we need to stay close. We can't let them ruin this night for you. His words were a lifeline, pulling her back from the edge of despair. A surge of gratitude filled her, wrapping around the fear that had threatened to consume her. You really think they'll try something? Kids like that usually don't know when to quit, he replied. But you're not going to stand alone, Jess. I promise. Jessica nodded, clinging to his unwavering support. As they moved into the crowd, the laughter resumed its place, and Jessica pushed aside her worries, focusing on the vibrant energy around her. The festival was meant to be a celebration, and she didn't want to let anything, not even the thought of those girls, dim that light. Navigating through the throngs of students, she felt the warmth of her friends and their laughter, each sound a reminder that she was part of something bigger. Let's grab some cider, Sam suggested, steering her toward a brightly decorated booth. Sure. Jessica replied a little too eagerly, grateful for the distraction. She reached for a cup, the fragrant sweetness of the cider filling her senses, and then felt the gentle squeeze of Sam's hand. She turned to him, surprised. Whatever happens, just remember this moment, he said, his eyes bright with sincerity. You are not defined by what they think. You're stronger than that. Jessica took a sip from her cup, letting the warmth flow down her throat. Maybe Sam was right. She felt a flicker of hope igniting within her, pushing back against the fear. Each moment they spent together felt like armor against the uncertainty creeping in. But as they drifted deeper into the crowd, the laughter intensified, and so did her anxiety. The atmosphere felt charged, as if everyone sensed a storm brewing. She caught sight of the girls again, huddled together, whispering in their usual malicious manner. They looked right at Jessica and Sam, a smirk creeping on their faces. Jessica's courage wavered. She could feel those whispers wound tightly around her heart. Then she heard one of them say, "Just wait until we're ready." She wouldn't even know what hit her. In that moment, doubt clawed at her determination. But then she looked at Sam, who stood resolutely beside her, his confidence radiating like a shield. It's just noise, he had said before, and for the first time, she truly believed it. The noise didn't control her, she did. Clearing my head in a crowd isn't so bad, she whispered, allowing herself a small smile. It was true. A part of her was excited to try and shine amidst the chaos, to find happiness even with looming shadows. Yet as the night continued, Jessica could feel something in the air shift again. The festival brought out surprises, and as they passed a brightly lit stage, the call for performers rang out. An invitation floated through the air, beckoning students to show their talents. What if you went up there? Sam proposed, his eyes lighting up with enthusiasm. No way. Jessica blurted out, the thought both terrifying and thrilling. She would be exposing herself to everyone, especially them. Think about it. It could be your moment. You could show everyone who you really are. Her throat went dry as the idea breathed life into her heart. But was she really ready to face not just the audience but the girls who might be waiting for her to fail? As she stared at the stage, the opportunity flashed like a beacon. What if it was a chance to confront her fears head-on, to take a stand not just for herself but for everyone who had ever felt the weight of cruelty? With the sound of the crowd behind her, the decision hung in the air, heavy and inviting. Jessica took a deep breath, feeling the hum of the festival surge around her. Would she dare to step into the spotlight, despite the uncertainty waiting for her there? She faced Sam, both exhilarated and terrified, and whispered, "What if I try?" As the final notes rang from the last performer, she knew this was her moment to embrace the crowd, to challenge the whispers in a whole new way. As Jessica stepped closer to the stage, her heart raced like a drum echoing in the depths of her chest. The festival lights flickered in her peripheral vision, creating a kaleidoscope of colors that blurred as her focus narrowed on the wooden platform ahead. The buzz of the crowd felt loud, yet muffled. It was the perfect metaphor for how she felt. A part of her wanted to shout, to silence the fears swirling inside, while another part wanted to hide away from the chilling glares of those girls. "Sam," she started, her voice barely a whisper. "Just breathe," he said, squeezing her hand again, grounding her. His presence stood like a fortress amidst the fleeting storm of her thoughts. As space cleared, she felt the eyes of the crowd shift toward her. The energy was electric, crackling with excitement and anticipation. She swallowed hard, battling the urge to retreat, to merge back into the crowd. But what if this was her moment? What if this was the chance to turn the tide? With a steadying breath, she stepped onto the stage. The spotlight felt warm, illuminating her face as it chased away the shadows that injected fear into her heart. The murmurs of the audience washed over her, sounding supportive but somehow foreign. She caught a glimpse of her reflection in a nearby mirror, the uncertainty in her eyes flickering against the dancer's awe and elation that surrounded her. Could she really do this? "Good evening, everyone." The announcer's voice rang out, pulling her from her thoughts. "Hi," she managed to respond, her voice small but bright, surprising herself with how it bounced back from the walls. "Who do we have here?" The announcer leaned closer, both teasing and encouraging. "I'm Jessica," she replied and, oddly, felt a release. The fear that had been a tight knot began to loosen ever so slightly. "Let's hear it for Jessica," he called, and the crowd's applause resonated like a heartbeat, empowering her tiny flicker of hope, kindling into an undeniable flame. "What are you going to share with us tonight?" he asked, and the audience quieted down, eyes fixed on her. Taking a deep breath, she glanced back at Sam, who smiled at her with unwavering faith. It was as if she could see the threads of solidarity in his gaze weaving a protective blanket around her. She thought of those girls, of their malicious whispers, and an unexpected surge of defiance pushed through her. "I'm going to sing," she announced, surprising even herself with the confident pitch of her voice. "Let's make some noise for Jessica." The announcer shouted, and the sound of clapping and cheers filled her ears, washing over her like a comforting tide. She felt buoyed, momentarily releasing herself from the anticipation of negativity. As she moved to the center of the stage, the crowd's spirit buoying her courage, Jessica fixed her focus beyond the bright lights. She envisioned her peers, faces lit up in excitement, and thought of those girls how much they would love to see her stumble. But she wasn't just defined by their intentions. She had a voice, a story, no one could take that from her. Then she began to sing. At first, her voice wavered, but as the melody wrapped around her, she found her rhythm, the notes soaring high with every breath. For the first time in a long time, she felt powerful. The crowd sang along, clapping to the beat, and suddenly, the world felt bigger. It wasn't just about her, this was a celebration of everyone's strength. She poured every ounce of her heart into the song, and in every lyric, she endeavored to reclaim her narrative, inviting others to join her freedom. As she finished, the crowd erupted with applause. Breathing heavily from the thrill of performance, she scanned to see if those girls were still watching. They stood together, jaws dropped, expressions frozen in disbelief. And for a moment, Jessica felt weightless. "See? You did it." Sam rushed up, gleaming with pride. "I can't believe I actually sang," she exclaimed, her heart still racing and a grin plastered across her face. But just then, the announcer's voice boomed again, cutting through the aftermath of applause. "Wow, that was great. But we've got one more surprise for you all tonight." A swell of anticipation filled the air, leaving Jessica curious yet cautious. What would happen next? Was her night of stepping out into the light about to take another turn? The crowd's energy shifted, a wave of curiosity rippled through as Jessica caught her breath. Her heart still raced, but now it pulsed with exhilaration. The applause echoed like a heartbeat, but the announcer's proclamation drew her focus back to the stage. What's this surprise? She thought, her brow furrowed slightly. A moment later, the announcer stepped aside, revealing a silhouette behind a curtain. The tension in the air was palpable. Just then, the curtain dramatically swung open, adding to the theatricality of the night. A familiar face stepped into view, and Jessica's heart plummeted. It was Lily, the leader of the girls who had bullied her relentlessly at school. She walked in with an air of confidence that made Jessica's stomach twist. But there was something different about Lily tonight. Her gaze was less predatory, more vulnerable. "Hi, everyone," Lily announced, her voice steady but softer than Jessica remembered. "I'm here to introduce a special initiative our school is launching." Jessica's curiosity mixed with a tinge of apprehension. Why was Lily on stage? What could possibly follow that wouldn't bring a flood of embarrassment? Lily continued, "We the students realize that we need to be better. We want to support each other more, celebrate our differences instead of tearing each other down. Tonight, we've decided to honor someone who has shown incredible courage." At that moment, Jessica felt the weight of the crowd's attention shift back to her, a combination of awe and sympathy illuminating their faces. Was she really being honored for what she had just done? It felt surreal. "Jessica," Lily said, locking eyes with her, "for your inspiring performance and for stepping out of the shadows when it would have been easier to stay hidden, we want to celebrate you tonight." The crowd erupted into cheers again, this time louder, more united. Jessica's chest swelled with a mixture of pride and confusion. How could Lily, of all people, be recognizing her? What was the catch? Offering a warm yet tentative smile, Lily stepped closer. "I know I've been harsh. I've said some awful things, and I'm sorry. I want to change that, to change who I am," she admitted, her vulnerability radiating an unexpected sincerity. Jessica blinked rapidly, trying to wrap her head around Lily's words. Was this genuine? Could this be the catalyst for a shift, not just for Lily, but for all the girls who had taken part in her torment? As more applause resonated, the announcer held out a trophy engraved with courage and community. Jessica felt her hands trembling as she accepted it from Lily. The symbolism of acceptance, recognition, this was far more than she had bargained for. Just as the air filled with cheers, a voice somewhere in the crowd interrupted the festive moment with a loud, mocking laugh. "What a joke. You actually think she's worth celebrating?" Jessica's heart dropped. The voice belonged to another girl from the same clique, and soon her friends joined in, sneering and chuckling. The laughter felt like ice water poured over her, chilling the warmth of solidarity. But beneath that chill, something ignited within Jessica. No longer was she the scared girl cowering from their words, she stood tall, trophy in hand. As she turned back to face the crowd, her expression shifted from surprise to determination. "This journey is just beginning," she called out, her voice booming over the laughter. "We're all capable of change, if we want it. And I want it. Let us stand together. Let us celebrate each other, not just tonight but every day." The crowd reacted with renewed cheers, a wave of compassion washing over them. Jessica felt uplifted, not just for her victory but for a burgeoning sense of unity. Then, the laughter from the girls seemed to fade into the background, replaced by allies cheering her on. But would they stand steady against the storm? Would Lily's change be genuine, or would this just be a moment that would fade? As she stepped down from the stage, the pulse of excitement climbed back up, yet shadows loomed. What would tomorrow hold? Jessica's journey had just begun, and she could only hope its end wouldn't bring back those familiar fears. The moment Jessica stepped off the stage, everything felt different. The warm glow of the spotlight faded, replaced by the coolness of reality. She clutched the trophy tightly, its weight anchoring her amidst the swirling emotions inside her. The cheers still echoed in her ears, a symphony of support and newfound friendship, but doubt crept in. What if this was just a fluke? She wondered. What if tomorrow they turned on me again? Lily approached cautiously, the pride in her eyes wrestling with the uncertainty of her own intentions. "That was amazing, Jessica. You were incredible up there," she said, her voice almost timid. "Thanks," Jessica replied, trying to match Lily's sincerity but feeling the tension between them. She couldn't shake the feeling that Lily was still the girl who had made her life unbearable, even if she was trying to change. Suddenly, from the corner of her eye, Jessica noticed the group of girls who had mocked her moments ago, huddled together, their whispers sharp and pointed. One of them locked eyes with Jessica, an expression of disdain plastered on her face. The laughter still lingered like a bad aftertaste. "Just ignore them," a voice said behind her. It was Kai, a classmate who had always seemed supportive from afar. "They don't matter. You showed real courage tonight." His words felt like a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters, but Jessica's heart raced as she turned back to Lily. "Are you really sorry?" she asked, the vulnerability of the question hanging thick in the air. "Or is this just another way to save face?" Lily's gaze dropped for a moment, and Jessica could sense the vulnerability and fear swirling within her. "I mean it. I know I've messed up. I want to be better, not just for you but for everyone," she admitted, her voice quaking slightly. Jessica felt a flicker of something was at hope. She wanted to believe her, to trust her. But part of her held on to the memories of hurt, the cruel words, the laughter, the loneliness. As the crowd began to disperse, Jessica felt a tug in her heart. Maybe this was a chance for change, something she had desperately wished for. Not just for herself, but for others who felt like she once did. "Let us work on it together," Jessica suggested. "Maybe we can start something. A group or club that promotes kindness and community." Lily's eyes widened, surprise mixing with gratitude. "That's actually such a great idea. I'd love to help." Just then, the mocking voice of the girl from earlier sneered from the sidelines, "You think everyone will just forget how you've acted, Lily? This is all just pretend." Jessica whipped around, facing the group. An electric tension filled the air again. "No one's pretending," she shouted, surprising herself with the force of her words. "We are all trying to be better, and trying to build something real." As the crowd began to turn, murmurs of agreement rippled through those who remained. It was the support she yearned for, a fleeting glimpse of camaraderie, but she understood that not everyone would change. Some would resist, push back against growth. "Change is hard," she continued, casting a glance back at Lily. "But it's the only way forward. We all deserve that chance." Jessica felt the fire inside her stir, fueled by hope and a sense of responsibility. Would their initiative flourish, or would they be met with resistance? The night wore on, filled with a blend of excitement and worry, but among the crowd waiting to hear more, one question lingered in her mind: would they find the strength to overcome the naysayers, or would old habits and prejudices pull them back into the darkness? As she stepped into the fray of friends and familiar faces, anticipation tinged the air. What would tomorrow make of their new journey? The morning sun spilled through Jessica's window, igniting a spark of hope in her heart. Today was the day her vision of a kindness club would officially take shape. She felt a buzz of adrenaline as she replayed the moments from last night, each cheer and nod of support cheering her on from the depths of her memory. At school, whispers and glances followed her down the hall, but today they felt different. Instead of feeling the familiar sting of judgment, she fought to hold on to the warm flicker of pride from the stage. Maybe, just maybe, things could be different. In the cafeteria, her usual spot felt oddly empty. With her trophy tucked under her arm, she stood at the entrance, scanning faces. Lily spotted her first, waving eagerly. Jessica's stomach nodded. Would that be a welcome sign or just the calm before the storm? As she approached the table, excitement bubbled among her classmates. They were ready to discuss the club, to brainstorm ideas on how to promote kindness. Among them sat Kai, his easy smile infectious and warm. "Okay, team. Welcome to the first meeting of the Kindness Initiative," Lily announced, clapping her hands together. The name felt right, like it belonged, and Jessica's heart swelled at the thought of being part of something so good. "Let us start with some ideas," Jessica said, her voice steady despite the flutter of nerves in her chest. We could plan school events. Maybe invite guest speakers or host workshops. A kindness wall. Another student suggested, and the group quickly buzzed with ideas, filling the air with energy. Each concept felt like petals unfurling, vibrant and hopeful. Suddenly, a familiar voice cut through the laughter. The girl from last night. Chloe strode toward them with her entourage, a sneer curled on her lips. What is this? A little club for losers? She scoffed, her words sharp enough to bite. Jessica's heart raced. She felt bolstered by the support around her but trapped under the piercing gaze of her past. She clenched her jaw, refusing to crumble. We're trying to make a difference. For everyone. Even you, Chloe. The audacity of her own words took her by surprise, but something ignited inside her. A low murmur of uncertainty rippled through the group, but Jessica stood tall, her determination grounding her. Right? Jessica turned to her friends for affirmation. Everyone deserves to be treated with kindness, even those who don't understand it yet. Chloe crossed her arms defiantly. You really think this will stop people from laughing at you? That's not why we're doing this. Lily chimed in, stepping forward. This isn't about them. It's about what we can create together. Jessica felt the weight of Chloe's contempt, but at that moment, she also felt something else, an unexpected bond with her classmates. They believed in hope and change. Acts of kindness can break down barriers, a quiet voice from the back spoke up, echoing Jessica's thoughts. Let us show everyone what we're made of. A spark ignited among her friends, a flicker of unity, as they stood together. The weight of old wounds began to lift. Fine. Enjoy your little club, Chloe sneered, rolling her eyes dramatically as she strutted away, but Jessica couldn't let her words dampen the budding excitement. Despite the confrontation, ideas flowed freely around the table. Plans were hatched for their first event, a kindness week where everyone could share stories or acts of kindness that they encountered. As laughter and ideas bounced among her classmates, Jessica's heart swelled. Their energy was infectious, and for the first time, she felt like a part of something much larger than herself, a movement. By the end of lunch, she walked away from the cafeteria lighter, her dreams now backed by a collective spirit. But lurking at the edge of her thoughts was Chloe's sneer, leaving a lingering doubt. Would they face more resistance as they took their first real steps toward change? Jessica took a deep breath, centering her thoughts as she headed to class, hope threaded with trepidation. She knew they were just beginning, and the true test of their resolve was right around the corner. Would the strength of their friendship withstand the pushback to come? The days that followed were a mix of exhilaration and anxiety. Jessica and her friends met daily during lunch, brainstorming ways to kick off their kindness week. They were vibrant and full of ideas, creating a colorful banner that read "Spread kindness" like confetti to hang in the cafeteria. Jessica felt like a balloon ready to burst with excitement. But each cheer came with the weight of Chloe's earlier mockery haunting her, a constant reminder of the judgment that loomed just outside their bubble. The night before their kickoff, Jessica lay in bed, sleep evading her. She replayed every moment spent with her friends, but the shadow of doubt crept in. What if no one participated? What if Chloe rallied others against them? Turning over, she whispered softly to herself, "You can't let fear win. This is bigger than you." She squeezed her eyes shut, searching for courage, letting the thought of how far she had come drown out the flicker of doubt battling inside her. The morning of kindness week dawned bright and clear. Jessica nearly stumbled out of her house, clutching a stack of kindness notes her mom had helped her create. Words of encouragement and declarations of respect filled each note, little reminders that kindness mattered, yet also vulnerable invitations to be part of something beautiful. At school, Jessica's heart raced as she stepped into the cafeteria. The banner hung proud, and her friends buzzed beneath it, their eyes sparkling with anticipation. But just as she started to relax, she noticed Chloe and her group at a corner table, armed with a sneer and whispers like arrows pointed straight at Jessica's heart. "Look at them, thinking they can change the world," Chloe snickered to her cronies, who uncorked a wave of laughter. Jessica felt the heat rise to her face, clenching the notes like a shield. Lily caught her eye, tilting her head slightly, as if to say, "Stay strong." They had each other, and together, they felt unstoppable. Jessica took a deep breath, her voice steady. "Let us show them why kindness matters." They moved around the cafeteria, handing out notes to classmates. Most students accepted them shyly, reading the words with tentative smiles. Others stood tall, laughing along with Chloe's crew, but finding the charm in their shared excitement. As the hours passed, the cafeteria's energy transformed. Students began to share their own stories, laughter floated around like the most contagious wildfire. Jessica felt herself smile brighter with each passing moment, the weight on her shoulders lifting slightly. Then, in the middle of it, a new voice joined the crowd. "What is going on here?" It was Sarah, a recent transfer who had been quiet all week. She stepped forward, her expression shifting from confusion to genuine intrigue. "We're spreading kindness." One of their classmates shouted, and as if pulled by an invisible string, others began to gather around. Jessica, taken by surprise, met Sarah's gaze. Her expression was curious but warm. "Can I help?" she asked, and just like that, the group welcomed her into their circle. A spark ignited as Sarah suggested they create a kindness chain. Each student would share one kind act they witnessed or committed that day, linking their experiences together. They grabbed paper and markers, writing down their moments and connecting them with strips of colored string. It felt like a beautiful thread weaving their hearts together. But just as rays of brightness began to shine through the cloud, Jessica spotted Chloe lurking nearby, eyes narrowed. The urge to crumble crept back, a small voice whispering, "What if this doesn't last? What if they pull the rug out from under you?" Just then, Kai stepped up next to her, his smile radiating encouragement. "Look at them, Jess. They're engaged. We're doing this together." Jessica felt a spark of confidence warm her chest, but Chloe's piercing gaze lingered. Could they sustain this momentum? Would the kindness they spread be enough to fend off the negativity looming at the edges? As evening approached, students left the cafeteria, leaving a trail of laughter and hope. Yet, Jessica knew they were just at the beginning of their journey. Just as fast, the initial victory could be met with a resistance that would test their resolve. What would happen when Chloe decided to strike back? The real challenge was just around the corner. The morning sun streaked through the classroom windows, illuminating the hum of chatter among students. Jessica could feel the excitement lingering in the air, a tangible thread of hope. Kindness Week had taken off, and while she relished the joy around her, a tight knot of worry remained in her stomach. It wasn't just Chloe's mocking eyes that unsettled her, it was the fear that this newfound energy could unravel just as quickly. As Jessica joined her friends in the hallway, she caught snippets of conversation. "Did you see how many notes they handed out?" One girl gasped. A boy replied, "I got one. It made my day." It was like a ripple effect, spreading warmth and eagerness as Jessica walked by. The more she heard, the more a flicker of determination ignited inside her. However, in the backdrop of their success, darkness loomed. 2 hours into the school day, Jessica spotted Chloe leaning against a wall with her gang, exchanging whispers and glances toward Jessica's group. The smile froze on Jessica's face for a moment, and she felt an urge to turn away. But Lily's soft nudging brought her back. "Don't pay attention to them," Lily urged, her voice barely above a whisper. "You've got to keep focusing on the good." Right then, a cheer erupted from a nearby classroom. Sarah, with her bright pink backpack and radiant smile, gathered a few classmates around her as she attempted to rally them into creating more kindness notes. "Let us make a wall of kindness," she announced with enthusiasm. The energy was infectious. Jessica felt the knot in her stomach loosen slightly. She joined Sarah, grabbing colorful sticky notes and markers. Together, they crafted messages of support, weaving joy into every word. You matter. Make someone smile. Be the reason someone believes in goodness. As they worked, more students gravitated toward their cause. Laughter erupted, and soon, a paper wall was adorned with colorful reminders of kindness. It felt like a fortress of positivity, radiant and proud. But then, Jessica caught sight of Chloe approaching. Her heart sank, apprehension prickling her skin. What are you doing? Chloe sneered, glancing at the wall with disdain. You really think this will change anything? People will only laugh at you. Panic rose inside Jessica, but she clenched her fists and pushed back the fear. This is about more than just us. It's about sharing something beautiful with everyone, she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. She wasn't about to let Chloe's negative energy seep into their moment. Chloe crossed her arms, smirking as her eyes scanned the new kindness wall. If you think that's going to work for you, fine. I guess we'll see how long it lasts. With that, she strutted away, tossing her hair over her shoulder like a storm cloud fading into the distance. Exhaling, Jessica felt relief wash over her. Way to stand your ground. Sarah cheered, her eyes shining. We're not stopping here, right guys? More hands reached out for sticky notes, fueled by the momentum Jessica managed to cultivate in that moment. They filled the wall to the brim, laughing and creating an environment where kindness could thrive. But even amid their success, Jessica glanced nervously at the doorway where Chloe had disappeared. Would her mean-spirited remarks start to sway others? Would her group retaliate against the kindness movement? The anxiety bubbled back up, it was hard to shake off the fear of backlash. As the school day dragged on, her thoughts tangled in an unease. What would be the tipping point? And what if Chloe succeeded in pulling others away from their blossoming kindness? Jessica swallowed hard, staring at the colorful wall that now gleamed with messages. She was determined to keep the light alive, no matter what came next. Just then, she felt a hand on her shoulder. It was Kai, his silent support radiating confidence amid the chaos. Whatever happens, we're in this together, right? He asked, a hopeful grin playing at the corners of his lips. But before Jessica could answer, the school bell rang, summoning the students to their next class, and with it, a knowing tension lingered in the air. What would happen when the others began to sway? Would the strength of their kindness be tested against Chloe's determined winds? The next morning burst forth with a blend of excitement and anxiety swirling in Jessica's chest. Kindness Week had started off with a joyful energy, but as she entered the school, she caught the distant whispers again. It was as if a storm was brewing just beyond her vision. Walking into the cafeteria, she felt a sense of apprehension grip her heart. The wall they had created was covered with colorful notes, messages of hope and encouragement, but Jessica could see Chloe's crew gathered around it, arms crossed, laughter echoing sharply in the air. What a joke! Jessica heard Chloe scoff, her words dripping with disdain. Do you really think this matters? Jessica felt a knot of despair tighten. Just when they were gaining momentum, here was the resistance. Chloe wasn't going to let their message of kindness just slide. Don't pay attention to them, Lily whispered, walking beside Jessica with a calm strength. We know what we're doing is right. In that moment, Jessica knew the importance of standing her ground. All the support they had gained could easily falter if they let doubt slip in. With a resolute nod, she took a breath, drawing courage from the countless notes they'd placed up on the wall and the friendships forged through this journey. That morning, as classes went on, students began to drift by the wall, reading the notes, showing genuine interest in the messages. Jessica felt a sense of pride swell in her, but as lunchtime approached, anxiety gripped her again. Would they crumble under Chloe's relentless taunts? Then, out of the corner of her eye, she saw it. A group of students, including Sarah and Kai, were chatting excitedly, heads bobbing in agreement. They were ready to stand firm. When they gathered around the kindness wall, Jessica joined them, her heart racing. Today, we're going to keep the momentum alive. Jessica declared, her voice ringing with an earnest enthusiasm that surprised even her. Let us write personal notes to each other. To share appreciation. Let us show Chloe and everyone else just how far kindness can go. Cheers erupted around her. Students pulled out markers and fresh sticky notes, writing heartfelt messages of gratitude and encouragement to one another. Her words fluttered around, coaxing others to add their voices. It felt, more than anything, like a celebration, a movement in full bloom. But Chloe wasn't done. Jessica felt her stilted gaze, watching from a distance. Why do you even care? Chloe called, a mocking tone infusing her words. You think this will change anything? Jessica's heart raced, but she boldly turned to face her. Yes, I do. Because kindness isn't about what others think. It's about making a difference even if it starts small. Her voice surged with certainty, reminding her of the power they all held. The cafeteria became electric with camaraderie as more students stepped up, forming a united front against the shadows that Chloe represented. Whispers of positivity rippled through the air, drowning out any sneers. Suddenly, a boy approached from behind Chloe. Jessica is right. Kindness can change how people treat each other. His voice rang clear, and soon other students murmured in agreement. One by one, the tide began to turn. Students moved closer to Jessica and her friends, drawn like moths to a flame. Chloe's smug look faltered as whispers of support soared. No one cares what you think, Chloe. Someone hollered, catching Jessica by surprise. The laughter echoing through the cafeteria took on a chorus of camaraderie, amplifying their found courage. Jessica's heart suddenly felt light. It was finally happening. The light they had cast was beginning to seep into the nooks and crannies where darkness lurked. Let us keep spreading that kindness, Jessica rallied, emboldened by the show of support. We're just getting started. That day, the cafeteria transformed into a space of unexpected joy and warmth, filled with laughter and new friendships. Jessica felt nearly untouchable amid the crowd's unified spirit, but the echoes of Chloe's laughter still lurked at the edges of her mind. As the day wore on, they prepared for their first event of Kindness Week, a school assembly where everyone would come together to share stories, messages, and support. Yet, deep within, Jessica knew the journey had just begun. Would they hold on to this forward momentum? Would Chloe and her crew really allow change to take root? She took a breath, not allowing fear to chain her down. No matter what, she whispered to herself, we'll face whatever comes together. Jessica stepped into the hallway and caught Sam's eye, smiling. For the first time, she felt truly strong. And as she moved through the school, that strength exploded from her heart like fireworks in the night sky, a beacon of hope, ready to blaze on against every storm that might pass through. The true test awaited, but one thing remained clear, the tide of change had shifted, and they were all riding the wave together. Tomorrow, as the assembly unfolded, they would embrace the challenge, ready to show how resilience could transform mockery into unity. And together, they would create a community founded in kindness, ready to rise against anything that threatened to tear them apart. This was just the beginning of something incredible. And in that moment, Jessica knew there was strength in community, a power forged by every unexpected bond they had created. They were more than friends now, they were a force united against negativity, ready to embrace every challenge with kindness leading the way. The journey ahead was full of unknowns, but Jessica felt prepared. And if the shadows danced, she would shine even brighter. This was her moment, their moment, a celebration of strength, transformation, and unyielding unity. Now was the time for action. To everyone watching this story unfold, let their courage ignite your spirit. You need to subscribe now to witness how this journey continues and to be inspired by even more incredible transformations. Leave a like now to give kindness the push it deserves, feeding the algorithm so others can discover this community of hope. Comment your reactions and feelings about Jessica's journey so far. We want to hear your thoughts, your voices are vital to this community. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, let us spread kindness and make the world a better place.